Welcome to the webinar, people, all about AIOPS today. And from Australia, we have Abhilash in operations. John, we can't see, but John's also in operations. There's a few other people involved across Australia. And here in New Zealand, online at the moment, we've got Selvum and myself. I'm in the sales side and Selvum's in the operations marketing side for New Zealand. So we're just going to wait for a few minutes just to make sure everybody's online. And we've got people joining us from New Zealand, Australia, mostly, from a range of areas in CTOs, CIOs, marketing, analysts. And while we're waiting for them to come on board, we'll just go to the agenda page and we can look at what we're going to discuss. So today we're looking at a brief introduction about EIL, the company, EIL Global, how the AIOPS works, a little bit about AIOPS, what it is, and some use cases. Whilst people are still joining, I'll just give a quick, brief summary on what AIOPS is. It was originally coined by Gartner, and originally they actually called it algorithmic IT operations, and then they changed it to artificial intelligence for IT operations, and then briefly AIOPS, which is quite a good term. And in summary, it basically AIOPS platforms utilize big data, modern machine learning and other advanced analytic technologies to direct and indirectly enhance IT operations. So they monitor automation and service desks functions proactively with personal and dynamic insight. This is Gartner's terminology. So AIOPS platforms enable the concurrent use of multiple data sources, data collection methods, analytical, which is real-time and deep technologies, and present technologies. It's a bit about EIL Global. Originally starting off in Australia in 2010, but certainly in other countries before that. EIL focused initially on Microsoft, Cisco, and Avaya platforms in the professional and managed services area. EIL Global is experienced in a range of technologies within the IT infrastructure management across a range of unified communications. And most of the customers we help and assist and support corporates, but we do have a range of small to medium businesses across several countries. And originally we focused on AIOPS and blockchain and typical IT services. We have a number of large multinational companies in New Zealand, Australia, including a few Fortune 500 companies, and a large oil and gas company in the APAC area. So legal entities, the main office is in Adelaide in Australia, but we also have connections with quite a few countries around the world. And in Australia, we have offices in Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, Brisbane, here in Auckland, and across Hong Kong, Singapore, India, and Malaysia, and with over 200 staff. So today we're focusing more on the AI side of things and the blockchain technologies to assist corporates and SMEs as much as possible. So I'll pass you over now to Abhilash, who will run you through the AIOPS Autointelli software.
All right, thank you very much for that, Grant. So I'm going to take you through to some of the key aspects of AIOPS. This is just the introduction. So as we are aware, every solution is meant to address a problem or a set of problems. So we'll probably start off with that. So we will we will focus on the problems. So what are the key problems which AIOps solution addresses to in general? So it's not just about, you know, our AIOps. It's probably about any AIOps solution for that matter. So we talk about the problems that we address with it. So in a conventional IT perspective, many organizations, they've got, you know, complex IT management tools. You know, you have from various vendors such as you know, Ops Manager, Kaseya, ServiceNow, ConnectWise, SolarWinds, etc. So medium to large enterprises who use you know, such you know, large different types of IT management tools. It's obviously a complex stuff out there. So that's big stuff out there that we say. And the second one, what we see is we have normally from any small, medium, large enterprises who have grown organic in an organic way, they will have obviously, you know, different components in the IT stack, like the servers, the desktops, the mobile applications, web applications, networks, cloud, storage, and hence there's a huge missing piece out there for an entire holistic overview on the infrastructure and the, you know, and the insights, right? So that's something where we try to address the solution into. And of course, as we see here with respect to, I'll put a small highlighter here. So with respect to all, you know, the routine tasks as we see here, with respect to the employees, you know, adding a new employee, doing a password reset, and, you know, application startup, etc. So we can, you know, that's a big problem out there. We have a lot of routine tasks that are need to be addressed by small, medium, large enterprises, and even managed services providers, right? And then you have complex, you know, high-end resources and complex tasks. So that's obviously everyone's problem out there. So these are the key problems that should be a concern that an AIOps solution should address into, right? And we go to the next slide. Yeah, so we spoke about all the problems there, right? And now we have an opportunity to, you know, we have an opportunity to talk about it. So as we see here, you know, the automation of logs and analysis and the events, that's priority number one. When these are the different ways by which we address or solve that problem, right? So but yes, and we have a big issue with the faster and more accurate, you know, root cause. That's a solution, or that is a big area that we address as well. And then you have the general issues with the, you know, the breakdown silos with the tool chain, and of course, in order to, you know, reduce the need for human resources engagements and the time that it takes to do complex analysis and remediation. All right, and of course, a predictive analysis. So AIOps solution should ideally address to all these 5 issues that we see here. Okay, and so this is what we do. Oh, well, so AI operations, or IT operations, as we see here, we help in monitoring the entire IT infrastructure. We would like to change your digital experience, right? So the entire digital experience is monitored. So we call it the DEM, the digital experience monitoring, the performance of all the applications that are being monitored. And then you have network performance and everything that is related to networks and software are monitored, and then everything about the infrastructure. So the monitoring bed is a key element here, and an inside view on the dynamics of the infrastructure. that is what we focus on. So the digital experience monitoring, application performance monitoring, and network performance monitoring, and the IT infrastructure monitoring. So all these are done by our AIOps solution, or rather any AIOps solution for that matter. And while we talk about that, we are probably diving deeper into how the AIOps solution works. How does it work? So all right, so these are the key features of Autointelli. So we are talking about we spoke about all the problems and some of the best practices and stuff out here. So what's that our solution does? So our solution is something that gives you a single dashboard of your entire IT infrastructure. You have different IT management tools yourself. You have Kaseya, you have SolarWinds, you have a monitoring system to see what's all over your Cisco IP telephony network. You have a system to monitor all your desktops, your servers, networks, etc. So, but these are all separate different tools out there. So there is the Autointelli. What it does is it sits on top of all your existing IT management solutions, and it gives you one single dashboard. It lets all your other applications talk to each other. We integrate all of them for you. And it gives a one single dashboard view of the entire infrastructure, obviously through which you can monitor, manage, and automate everything in a single screen. You can do even auto healing of the issues with virtual bots and automatic resolution of tickets. There's a lot of automation and that single dashboard view. That's what we offer as one of our key solutions. So here. And smart alerting. So, I mean, our folks who are into the IT infrastructure, they know what is an alert, how important is an alert. So an alert is something that you need to probably sit across and configure each of these alerts by yourself to see that when something goes wrong, it gives you an alert. But our solution, Autointelli, it does the alerting by itself. You don't need to configure anything to set your alerts up. So any anomaly that happens within your entire IT stack, which is not normal, it gives you an alert. And of course, when you have an alert, you don't need to be bothered about all of your alerts. The system will automatically pick up the alerts that are relevant to you, where you need to put your attention on. And that is automated. And it gives a full insight towards your business analytics and your meaningful information about your entire IT infrastructure. So, for example, if you have about 10 servers with you, and you've got about 4 or 5, hubs and routers and switches, it's a fairly not so complex, easy network. But then, what each of them does towards the entire IT infrastructure is pretty easily seen, because you have such not so many devices in there. But when the numbers go up, sometimes a router issue can cause a problem within the server, right? So these are interconnected issues, but these are generally handled by a router expert or a Windows expert or a desktop expert. So, but when they talk to each other on a higher level, that's where the problems between all these devices pop up, and how they work in sync and all that information, which is about deeper insight about your own infrastructure. You get to know about the infrastructure and the insights as we go, only through Autointelli. And of course, you have a workflow, you have business process in place. We help in automating all that, all that business process orchestration, such as you have a ServiceNow workflow in place, and you need to automate, a process by which a new employee joins in and stuff. It can all be done. And of course, the discovery and inventory of the infrastructure, that's all done. That's all automated as well. So essentially these are the key aspects, and the biggest stuff is, of course, you need a complex you have a complex problem that has to be sorted out or that has to be resolved. So what we do is we create virtual automation engineers to perform end-to-end operational process across. So you don't need to hire, or you don't need a specialist or a level 3 engineer in place to sort out a complex network problem. Of course, you need your network engineers, you need your desktop engineers, but you don't need like a high-end resource to be managed. To be housed in-house to manage the entire infrastructure or that particular infrastructure. So we can automate quite a bit of complex processes out there to perform anything on the IT stack, like servers, mainframes, storage, networks, everything, even help desk and application operations. We can do quite a bit of automation in all of that respect. All right, and this is a summary of what you get in Autointelli. So we spoke about the problems, right? We spoke about the problems. We spoke about what do in detail. So as a solution, it's a full tool stack that you get at your disposal, which does the availability and performance monitoring. It does the event management and automation. It does the IT process and workflow automation, assessment automation, workload automation. So that's a lot to talk about. So let it be anything in there in your IT stack. The availability and performance monitoring, this is particularly applicable for data centers and even retail applications, such as retail enterprises such as the Woolies or Coles, etc. So they need to continuously monitor the performance of the servers, and we can take unique actions based on the alerts that we see from each of this performance monitoring. And what happens after the monitoring? Of course, an event happens from the monitoring, right? So you have a performance issue that changes itself into an event, and that event is automated as well. Quite a bit of event that we see here, like the event forward from the monitoring systems, event filtration, event suppression, and alert creation, and auto ticket creation, automated diagnosis, rule-based resolution, alerting, notification. All those events or actions that arise from the availability and performance monitoring, they are managed here in the event management automation. And of course, you have an IT process and workflow. So you have a health check. You need to periodically do a health check over your infrastructure that's in place, and you need to do the automation of a new device. You have a new router to be added into your network. So conventionally speaking, we need to actually build a configuration, load into the router, test it, and commission it into the network. That's what really happens, right? So we can automate all of that. Yeah, of course, you need to carry the router to the place, of course, but otherwise it can be automated. Or most of this process, even the powering on, the powering off of a device, can be automated to a large extent. And we build custom workflows, and we can automate all the queries and stuff related to database and stuff. And the same thing applies to the asset management automation and workload automation. So if you've got any questions, you can probably type in there. So as I see them relevant, we can start addressing them in here, or else we can go for a session and to go through what are the key issues here on the questions, and then we can start answering them there. All right, and if we go to the next slide. All right, so these are the different benefits of Autointelli to the customers, as we see here. So there are like different percentages out here of the benefits of a solution. So the 35%, that's the majority. This is based on a research analysis from, I think, from Gartner. The report is it shows that about 35% of automation allows a CIO to focus more on strategic IT initiatives. So that's a key benefit. And second one is it about 26%. What we've seen is it frees a team to focus on more value-added initiatives. And about 17% see that you don't need to hire too many employees to manage your IT. You can fail. Of course, we're not saying that we don't need an IT force at all. We still need IT people. We still need people who are skilled resources in those technology perspective. Now we are more interested, or the world is moving in such a way that the technicians or the engineers, they need to be more of on a generalist perspective rather than being a specialist. Of course, if they are a specialist, they should rather be spending their time not doing a complex root cause analysis, but they should be doing something worth more than that, that's beneficial to the company as part of the deriving strategies and things of that sort, giving a way or defining the path towards being a CIO in the future. So the solution is, technically speaking, is paving the way for a creation of a lot of CIOs on the way, because you have a lot of information out there and insights and stuff that you can play around with. And about 15% see that the budgets and the investments can be used for more strategic initiatives. If you're able to see my screen here, so for an IT manager, it's definitely or a managed services provider, it's pretty easy. You have significant reduction in terms of your IT tickets. It's primarily because you have increased productivity with reduced manual efforts, and you have 24/7. A 24/7 workforce management is a big stuff here with automation. So you have somebody responding to your tickets 24 hours. And the SLA, there's the service level agreement that you may have in place with your teammates, with the engineers or your clients. It's as low as 15 minutes, can be brought down to 5 minutes now, because you have somebody who could work 24/7 in a short SLA as short as say 5 minutes, and of course the ease of implementation. So these are the key benefits of Autointelli for managed services providers in general. And if I take to the next slide. So the key takeaways, so this is a Gartner report that was published recently. So as per Gartner, about 90% of people, of CIOs and the CTOs, agree that AIOps is pretty important for the future of IT operations. And as per Gartner, by 2023, at least 30% of large enterprises will be using AI or AIOps-based solutions, compared to what we've seen in 2018 and stuff. All right, so we are now moving on to the use cases. So in the meantime, I would probably like to run a poll. All right, there's a short poll coming on your way. It would be great if you can put your thoughts on that. just pick one of the options that you see there. If it doesn't work, you probably need to minimize the screen and open it up again, and then it will start working. So we will spend about a minute for that. We've got about 40 seconds spent now, about 20 seconds more until we finish that. All right, we've got about 70% vote here. So yeah, it would be nice if everyone could spend another 5-10 seconds on that. That's pretty easy. Just pick up your option. The question is the most benefit that you see for AIOps as of now, or from the information that you have. So yeah, just to know what do you think about it, So all right, so I'm gonna probably close the vote. We've got about 90% now. I think we've got about 10% to go. That's about another 10 more seconds. I think we should be good now. One of the biggest benefits that you see here is, so you already have a set of tools. So this is one of the biggest questions. You have a set of tools. You have invested in ServiceNow. You have invested in a monitoring system, and you already have engineers in place. So does adopting an AIOps solution, does it mean that you have to worry about the spending? Because you have spent for so many tools already, and are you going to throw these solutions away? No. So your ROIs on all those investments still remain enhanced, and you don't need to shred, because we are finding a way to use all of them. We are not asking anyone to get rid of them, but we are finding a way to use all of them in a much better way. So the ROI enhances heavily in adopting an AI solution. All right, thanks for the poll. We'll continue with this. Okay, so the AIOps use cases. Yeah, so these are some of the use cases you might find useful. So these are from the live cases that we have experienced so far. So this is going to give a holistic view on how these use cases could be applied to different business cases. So one of the routine issues that we normally hear about, the password reset and account lock, through SMS gateway. So it's quite a routine issue for the IT manager, or the IT head, or the guy who does the IT within the organization. They get a lot of calls on the password reset, that they lost the password on an application, or the Windows itself, or the screen, or the server, etc. So that we can easily automate that, even using an SMS gateway. It just helps. We can do it in a mobile verification, basically against AD or OTP based verification, etc. That can be done. So you don't need to call up the users don't need to call the help desk to reset the password. We have seen about 40% of our issues with respect to the password reset issues that can be simply automated. And especially now you have people working from home, and those scenarios, it's pretty handy if you can just automate that. And the infrastructure, if you have a new device into your infrastructure, and you pay for the installation and implementation and commissioning those devices into your network, of course that is part of professional services. And you actually don't need to discover that device into your network. So the dashboard automatically discovers the inventory. So you add a new resource or new device into your network, you commission them, the entire report is automated into the dashboard, and it's agentless and hassle free. This is particularly useful in a data center environment where we see hypervisor management and automation. You can do it just like that. The different the virtualization and the VMware or Citrix environment, we can completely automate about 80% of the tasks in a data center or within the cloud. You can automate that. You can actually manage multiple hypervisors, templates, resources, and even the usages. Yeah, you need to sometimes on a server level, you may have to, do manual startups and shutdowns, and sign off papers, etc. So especially with respect to if you've got like hot and warm, starts that are required. And that can have an dependency in terms of the performance, certain applications or even certain servers and stuff. So we can automate in a workflow the entire application startup and shutdown process. And the multiple scripting language support, if we have an orchestrated environment, like one task leads to the other, all right, or if you have a troubleshooting procedure like this happens and you have a decision tree to run to take questions from the users and move on to the next to finalize the issue, you can just automate all of that. And then you have the entire cloud process, that we can automate it without reducing the, keep bringing up all the blind spots and the hardened areas within the operations, especially with respect to the virtual machines. If they want to create and decommission process, you want to add more resources to, your blade server, extra, all this can be easily done. And incident management and hybrid IT monitoring, this is one of the key applications that we've been telling all this while. So you can do unified monitoring. Multiple monitoring systems can be integrated into one single view. The monitoring capabilities for all physical, virtual, and application environment can be done. If you need to probe more questions to the users about a particular problem, you can use quite a bit of bots to get the answers, and you resolve your incidents automatically through the virtual engineers. So we're talking about a root cause analysis where a level 3 resource may need to spend about a couple of hours to find the root cause of a particular problem, which is part of problem management as part of EIL guidelines. So when you have the problem management issue, management issues are generally handled by level 3 guys. So those framework can be automated using the root cause analysis feature within Autointelli. And one single dashboard gives you great insights towards the entire infrastructure, so that you can do about 50 plus pre-built charts to select from, and you can pre-build the dashboards, and you can easily download those reports for meetings and all that. All right, that's from our side. I think we'll probably go for one more slide. So one of the polls that we just ran today, I think the most benefit that we have seen in AIOps is about the integration of existing IT management tools. That's the key benefit of AIOps solution or Autointelli that's as seen by our audience here, and we about 33% agree or like the fact that it could help in workflow automation, and about 22% of our audience agree that that for their benefit is one single dashboard of the entire IT. And probably it's time to run another short poll that is just yes, no, or maybe. All right, that was easy. Thank you for that. And there is another one more that is just to get your interest on a second level of discussion if you want to. So we are happy to provide a proof of concept or a discussion to probably understand your situation and just give you a feedback on how AIOps can help your organization in terms of deciding if you need to adopt a technology such as this one or you don't need to. So this is just to have an idea on towards that. And yeah, I've got a question from someone. He's asking, what are the implications of adopting AI in a retail chain of organizations? Yeah, the retail chain definitely has a set of complex infrastructure. You have point of sale servers, you have different applications, you have stock reports, and you have sales promotions and a lot of activities are going on in the front end, which is supported by a core data center set of activities in the back end across different cities. Of course, you can just the CIO team of second largest supermarket retails in Australia. The CIO office has got about 32 employees just to monitor the different infrastructure that they have in place. So yeah, so that shows how complex it is. So we can have everything in a single one dashboard view. The whole country's infrastructure can be brought into one single dashboard view. I've got another question that is about Microsoft Azure. What are the automation perspectives within Microsoft Azure? Yeah, we have options to automate quite a bit of large automations with respect to creation of a cloud environment or migration of physical to virtual P2V conversions. A lot of those activities can be automated. Still, we still need quite a bit of level 3 integrations required as part of manual intervention, which is, so we are not advocating, of course, about reduction of workforce. So we are more into the application of the solution to a large number of infrastructure and people out there to enhance the operational challenges. So basically, the AIOps is nothing but it's something that works on or it looks more on modern day IT than the conventional IT. So that's all it is. In one way, in one liner, if you call what's AIOps, it's modern day IT. As simple as that. And all right, I think those are the questions we've had today. Any other questions you may have, just put it in there, then we can take it up. please put down any questions you may have.
So for those that don't know, if you just click the red button at the top, it expands and you can write a message down the side. We're still on the poll screen. I'll be back again. Okay. Okay, Abhilash, any more questions coming through? Or?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we got another question. That's all right. When Autointelli has access to all and interact, and what are the cyber security risks that are part of implementation of basically AIOps solutions, any AIOps solution for that matter? I think the single answer towards is that we can do the implementation of AIOps within your own offices. It doesn't need to be on the cloud, or you can do it in the cloud, in your private cloud or public cloud, or within your premises. And it complies with all ISO 27001 standards and all the information security risks that are generally in place. And while the data that goes out, the Autointelli server is actually a machine learning process that is processed and the bot, all of these are implemented and integrated and kept within the organization itself. It doesn't take the data out because nobody else would want the data unless you want to do that, share it with somebody else, but that's the organization's internal code. All right, and any other questions? Do we need to require any of the client agents? If you already have a if you already have a monitoring system in place, it will have there are a couple of ways by which the device's SNMP traps are picked up, right? So the client agents might already be installed in your system. So Autointelli does not need to install any new app or the client version into the devices, but it accesses the telemetric data from an already existing client, from those client agent from those devices. For example, if you have SolarWinds installed in your server, Autointelli picks up the telemetric data from the SolarWinds agent from that server. So it doesn't need to sit on the same desktop to get the data out, but instead it takes the information out from the existing agent. The performance, another question is about how can we be sure if the solution, how can we ensure that the solution does not compromise on the performance on the application of the network? So of course, with all the resources and the discovery that are being done on time to time, the host discovery and dependency manager, that's something that's already built in, and it evaluates performance and gives you an insight of what is your infrastructure capable of. So the solution is meant to enhance the performance of the entire infrastructure. And if you need to add more resources and stuff, the insights information is typically good for that. All right, that's good. More questions? So for any solution for that matter, especially our solution, we are in a learning curve, right? So in order to implement a solution such as Autointelli, which has to learn your own devices, your own processes, it takes its own time. So there is always a learning curve that is built in, that is taken. That learning is another repository that is perpetual to your information or to the infrastructure's information, and it adapt to that specific environment. So that's learning curve is machine learned, and it's applied to that specific environment. All right. So, all right, I'm looking for more questions. I've got still some time left for more questions if you have. I think in the control panel of the device, of the GoToWebinar, you might find an option to ask questions. It's a drop down. Does that color out red, Grant, John, or?
Yeah, so basically if you click the red arrow, it opens up the control panel, and then you click on the chat option and you can type a message.
Yeah.
I guess one of the questions that hasn't come up but you could answer is effectively, to make it worthwhile, what is the smallest type of organization that Autointelli could be used in?
Yeah, the solution is, as mentioned, it's useful for small, medium to large enterprises to very large enterprises. So we're all, it's about addressing those problems. So if you have addressed, or if you have had any of those problems that we see here in this page, so these are the problems. Are you worried about complex IT management tools, or you want to know more about your existing IT infrastructure? If you plan to upgrade it or downgrade it down the line, what are the insights, or what are the things that you should consider before you approach a professional services provider? And you have complex, devices, your IT stack. Do you use 24/7? Do you need 24/7 monitoring? Yeah, that's another question. Do you need high availability monitoring on some of your devices? Yes, that's another problem that you need to address too. And do you have, obviously this is something everyone has, right? So the routine tasks. So if you have, if you can write down the routine tasks that you need to manage from every day, you just need to you just need to write that down. That's it, and then that's a problem to address. So that's particularly useful for small, medium businesses, I believe, and complex tasks and high-end resourcing. Yeah, that's definitely another point. Okay, so that question is still answered. I think I'll remove that. So how is pulling data from device? How is a solution pulling data from the devices and the servers? And which ports are being used? So we have answered that. So we don't really need to, unless you have an already existing monitoring solution. Probably we don't need to do a complete. We don't need to do a complete installation of new agents into the system. And the APIs, there are the system APIs that are in there. They pull the data from other systems as well. So it's a mix of if you have an existing set of agents or client agents sitting in your system, it takes the telemetric data using APIs. I think we've answered that point. So that clears out that question. Anything to add from you guys on the panelist side, if you want to? Any other questions you have?
Oh, just to say to everybody that if they want to see a bit more about Autointelli, they can go to the website, eilglobal.co.nz or eilglobal.com.au. And if they want some brochures or flyers to give to staff, they can just call or email us.
Yep.
And discuss what opportunities your organization may have for automating.
And also, given the fact that this was a recorded session, if they need a copy of this, we can always send it to them.
Certainly. Yep. Okay, so unless there's no more questions, I guess we'll say thank you for your time.
Good stuff.
All right, thank you very much for everyone for your time with us today. You have a good rest of the day.
Thanks, Abhilash.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Grant. Thank you, John. Thank you, Abhilash.
Thank you.
Okay.